What's up guys, Clint here, back to another video, and in today's video I'm going to show you how I built this weather application in React.js. Yes, it is the most commonly built application in React, I would say. So a lot of people are doing to-do lists and weather apps, but for a good reason. If you're learning React, this is a great way to do it. We're going to work with the API, OpenWeatherMap, and you really get to learn some basic base fundamentals of React. So here's what we're going to be building right here. Basically, I just have a nice stretched image out here with an overlay to help give some depth to the data that we're going to pull and display on the screen. So we have an input bar here, and it's just going to take in a city here. So we can type in somewhere like Denver, boom, and this is all data coming from our API, so coming from OpenWeatherMap. So it's going to display our city here, our degrees in Fahrenheit. We are in the US. So some weather description here, clear, rainy, cloudy, stuff like that. And then some more weather data here at the bottom. And you can go and enter another city, boom, Miami, and you can just keep entering cities here. So that's what we're going to build here today. And guys, I have it on a smaller screen because that's what I originally designed it for. You can open it up a bit and it looks nice. Just has a nice little container around it. But really it's meant for smaller screens. For example, if we look at the Chrome DevTools here, we can have a look. This is what it looks like with iPhone XR. So it looks really nice there. So if you're a beginner to working with React APIs, this is going to be a great video for you. I'm going to show you how to do it from the beginning. We're starting off here in a blank VS Code editor. So without further ado, let's jump in. All right, guys, so we're starting off here in VS Code, blank slate. So what we're going to do, I'm going to press the Control backtick button here to open up our terminal here. And I'm just going to change the directory to the desktop. And what these two and signs are saying is basically if we change a directory successfully, then I want to execute the next command, which is going to be npx create React app. Okay, so we're going to create a React app, and I'm going to call this weather app-react. There we go. Go ahead and press enter. This will only take a second, you guys. All right, so it says happy hacking here. That means we're ready to go. I'm just going to go ahead and pull over my folder that we just created here, our create React app. So this is what we're going to have here on our basic React application. So we're going to be working outside of this or inside of this source folder. So don't worry about the node modules or the public or anything down here. And in fact, I'm going to go ahead and clean this up a bit. I'm going to delete some things that we're not going to be using for this tutorial. So the app.css, app.test, the logo, report web files, and setup test. Let's just go ahead and, whoops, not rename, but let's just go ahead and delete all of these here. So we don't want to start our server yet. We'll get some errors, and that's because we have some dependencies here that we deleted. So let's go ahead and get rid of these here in the index.js. Done with that. Then our app.js, let's go ahead and remove this in here. And then we can get rid of this here. Actually, we'll just replace it with import React from React. There we go. So, and let's go ahead. I'm going to press the Control backtick button for our terminal here. Now I'm going to go ahead and run npm start here to start up our development server. So there we go. I'm going to change this over so we can get our emit here, shortcuts. Just make sure everything's working. And let's have a look. There we go. Perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. So what we want to do is install some dependencies that we're going to be using. So you can either close this little terminal down, or you can just open up another one. That's what I'm going to do. So we're going to be using Axios. So go ahead and install Axios, npm I axios. And so to install that, that's how we're going to be accessing our API. So let's import Axios here at the top. Import Axios from Axios. And we're also going to be using the uState hook. So let's go ahead and import that as well. All right, now I'm just going to close that server here. So first, let's go ahead and access or go ahead and gain access to our API here. So I'm going to go to OpenWeatherMap here. This is a really great API to use, has lots of information, and it's real easy to use. So sure, and I'm just going to sign in here. All right, so now that I'm signed in here, I'm going to go ahead and click on API. And this is the one we're going to be using right here, this current weather data. So I'm going to go ahead and click subscribe, and I'm going to get the free one right here. So go ahead and click get API key. So I already have mine. What I'm going to do here, come down here to my API key, and this is it right here. So I'm going to go ahead and open up this API here and grab our API doc. So this is what we're going to be using right here. I'm going to go ahead and copy this. And over here, let's go back to our code editor. And I'm just going to add this in here. Define it, const URL. And I'm going to put some text in there. There we go. So let's grab our API key. So go back over to here, API keys, boom, right there. And if you copy this one, it's not going to work. So make sure you get your own there. So go ahead and we're going to put this over our brackets there. I'm going to paste that in there. And this is the city name. So what we're going to do is pass in, from our input, we're going to pass in there. But for now, I'm just going to say city like Dallas there. So, and we do have to add this HTTPS, : there we go. All right. So now that we have that, we can go ahead and comment that out. And what I'm going to do here, what I like to do actually is, let's go back to this code editor here. And I'm going to grab this API and just make sure everything is working properly. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in there. Ah, perfect. Perfect. So that's what we want right there. And in fact, I'm going to go ahead and put this, I'm going to save it here. That way I can just bring it in to my, I'm going to close it. What I like to do is bring it into VS Code. So let's see, downloads. And this is it right here. Boom. So I'm going to save that so it formats here. What happened? There we go. Okay, so I'm going to split this over to the right. So I like downloading this so I can have a quick reference. And we're not going to really use this file. We're just going to reference on the data that we want to display. So we can go ahead and shrink this thing back down here. I'm going to go back to our application, close that. So I'm going to go ahead and move that over since we're not really going to be using that right there. Make this a little bit larger for you guys. Okay, so what we want to do first here, and we're working in our app.js. So what we want to do is let's go ahead and style our application. So I'm going to just change that to a lowercase, kind of start over here, and yeah, let's do that there. So let's go ahead and start with some JSX here, and we're going to go ahead and code out the how our website is going to look. So in here, we're going to create a div here. I'm going to use a container here, boom, just like so. And within our container, I'm going to have a top portion, and then also we're going to have a bottom portion is how we're going to break up our site here. So we're going to have a top and then also a bottom. There we go. And in our top here, what we want to have, go ahead and make an indentation there. So I want to have a location. And in this location, I'm just going to say, Dallas. Right now, we're just going to hard code some data in there, just so we have something to look at and something to style. So after the location, we want to have a temp. Boom, there we go. And for our temp, I'll just say 65. And I'm just copy over degrees here. We're going to be using Fahrenheit. I'm going to put this inside of an H1. We'll say 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Perfect. And then also underneath the temp here, let's do a description. Boom, description. And in here, we can just say, we'll say clouds. All right, so that's it for the top part here. And then what I want to do next is go down to our bottom here. And inside the bottom part of our page, we're going to have, it's where we're going to have our little box. So we're going to have the field like in here. We'll just say div with the class name of fields, and we'll say 65 degrees. Let's wrap this actually. Put a p tag. 60. We'll say 65 degrees. Perfect. And then also have a humidity, and we'll say humidity is 20%. And what's our next one going to be? The wind. So let's do .wind, and we'll say 12 mph there. Pretty windy out. So that's all our data here that we're going to be using. So let's go ahead and style this thing and have it looking the way we want it to look. And then we can go ahead and come back to access our data from our API. So let's go ahead and I'm going to bring over, I'm going to create a little asset folder here. Even though I'm not going to have one thing here, I just like to follow the common conventions here. So I'm going to bring over a file here. This is going to be our background that we're going to be using. So like I said, I want to follow best practices while I'm learning React. So I think that's the best way to set yourself up for success. So this is the only image we're going to be using. It's going to be used as our background. And the way we're going to style our application is we're going to style everything in basically in this index.css. So it's a small application. We're not going to have multiple components, or you're not like a full site build. So there's all different ways to build your project. And so basically you just want to kind of build it the whatever makes sense to you. So this is how we're going to do it in this project here. And I have some fonts I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using the Outfit font. I've used it before, so you can just grab it from fonts.google.com or anything else you want to use. So I'm going to go and import that, and I'm going to define some global styles here. So select all. I'm going to define a border box, not border box, or sorry, box sizing. Sorry, box sizing is border box here, and then I'm going to set the margins to 0 and also the padding to 0. There we go. And let's go ahead and let's get rid of that there. So I'm going to grab our font here, and like I said, it is Outfit, just like here at the top. There we go. And you just leave all that, doesn't really matter. You can delete it. What I do want to code is some font sizes. So p tags, I want them to be 1.6 rem. And then let's do h1. I want them to be font size, just going to be 6 rem. That's going to be our degrees there. And let's go ahead and work on our background. So our outer container here is app. We'll work with that, and we're going to have a width of 100%, height of 100 viewport heights. We want this position to be relative because we're going to have a background image, but we're also going to have an overlay to kind of make things stand out a bit. So for our background color, we're going to do RGBA, black, and then let's do a try 0.4. So this is our little overlay here. You can tell if we go darker, it's almost going to be black, and then 1, you probably be able to notice the difference. So I'm going to leave it at 4 for now, and I want our text to be everything inside our application to be white. So let's go ahead. Well, let's go ahead and do that. Now let's attach our image here. The way we're going to do that, we're going to use the before selector here. So before, and we're going to set the content. Sorry about that. Content, we're going to set to an empty string here. And now for our background, let's type in our address to that image we're going to use. And we're going to go outside the directory into the assets and sunset. There we are. Now we need to position this. What the hell? We need to position this absolute, and we'll get a little error here, so I didn't close that off. Position this absolute since we're on top of our relative container here, and the width is going to be 100%, and also the height 100%. Top 0, left 0, align everything here, and let's give it the Z index so it's right below that our overlay here. So, whoa! So this is it. You can't really see it because we need to add some extra styles here. So let's do center. We need no repeat first of all. No repeat. Center, and then center, and let's cover full width of the screen. There we go. So now, as you can tell, let's have a look. It kind of moves with the full screen. So that's what we want right there. That is perfect. I'm going to open this up. I can't do it anymore. That's okay. Hope you guys can still see everything fine. Let me know in the comments, and I won't do that again next time. So let's go ahead and move on to the top part. What we're going to do is display that top part there. So let's start off with our container, I believe is next here. So what we want to do, access our container. Let's give it a max width of 700 pixels. So like I said, we're going to have this thing set up. We're styling it for for small devices, primarily like mobile devices, but also we want it to look decent on phone screen devices as well. So margin, I'm going to set to auto here. Then some padding. We don't want it jammed up against the edges, so let's do 0 top and bottom, 1 rem on the left and right. Let's position this relative. We're going to be moving some divs around within it. Top, I want it to kind of display about 10% in the top there. That looks good. Perfect. Now let's do display, flex, and flex direction. We want to do column, and then justify content, space between, so it can kind of go on the top and bottom of the pages there. Perfect. So that's going to be our box down here at the bottom. Now what we want to do, let's go ahead and tackle this. We got the top part. Yeah, let's tackle this top part here. So what I'm going to do is go to app, then this top part here, we want a width of 100% and a margin of 1 rem auto. There we go. Perfect, perfect. And also let's get our description here. So app description, and we want this to be positioned relative. And I'm going to slide this over here. Let's try 90%. Close that off here. So we want this to move all the way over there. So that might be too much, but we want to turn it to, we want it to face vertically. So the way we're going to do that is transform origin. There we go. And then we want to transform. There we go. Let's rotate. Let's see. That looks a little bit sideways. That's the other way. Try 268. 269, 270. Yeah. I'm gonna go 269. All right, so that's it for that one there. So that concludes our top part. Now we just want to style our bottom part here real quick. So let's jump in here to app, and let's say bottom, and we want to display this as flex here. There we go. And we also want to justify the content. Let's do space evenly here. And that's going to shove everything across the width of the screen. Perfect there. I wonder why that miles per hour there is small. We'll come back and have a look at that. Text align center, let's do width 100%. Margin, we'll do 1 rem, and then auto on the sides here. And padding, we'll do 1 rem. We'll do a border radius of 12 pixels. And background color, let's do, have a little RGBA action here. So we'll do, instead of black, let's do white. So 255, 255, 255, and then let's do 0.5. Let's do 2. Let's do 0.2. And then I want to have a bold selector. Okay, 700. All right, so looks pretty good here. Let's see how it's looking here. Denver. So we need to add, we're missing a few things here. Also, we looked like we left a few things off there. So let's go to app.js. So it's down here in our bottom part. What's this here? We'll say feels like, there we go. Feels like, perfect. And then let's do like so. Humidity. We'll do wind speed. This needs to be, there we go. Let's give this some class name as well. Bold. All right, that's looking good there. Looks pretty comparable there. All right. So next thing we want to do is connect to our API. So this is our URL here. So let's do that one here right now. Okay, so let's think about what we want to do here. So what we want to have is an input box here at the top, and we want to take in a value. It's going to be a location, and we're going to pass that location into our URL here that's going to be talking with our API. So the way we're going to do that is by using some state. So let's go ahead and open up the state here. And we're also going to use state for our API as well. So the state use state is going to take in two values in here. So I have my comma, and then we're going to end with a use state, and we're going to set this to an empty object. And my two values are going to be data and set data. Now, like I said, we're also going to be doing the location here. So I want to have another state for my location. So we'll say location and set location like so. And we're going to say equal to use state. And we'll set this one as an empty string. Perfect. Now, we're going to be using this URL, so we can go ahead and uncomment that. And instead of the Dallas here that I've already passed in, what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of that. And we're going to type a $ there, some open curly brackets. And this is our dynamic value that we're going to be passing in. And we're going to be passing in the location here. Now, we don't have that yet because we don't have an input bar yet. So let's go ahead and still connect to our API. So, and we want this to happen all on a search function. So I'm going to enter this within a search function. So let's define our search location. We'll call it. It's going to be an arrow function. And in here, we're going to run our axios.get. We're going to grab our URL. Then we're going to get a response passed in here through our arrow function. And we're going to set our data to response.data. And also, I'm going to go ahead and console.log response.data as well. There we go. Now, we want this, since we're not going to have a button, we want to have submit our input on a enter button. So we're going to wrap that whole thing in an if statements here. So we'll do if event.key equals to use the enter button. Proceed with this code here. So let's just go ahead and cut that and paste it. There we go. And oh, we need to pass in the event. There we go. Now let's go ahead and add in our input. So let's put it outside of the container, so it's not within the flex properties here. And we're just gonna have a search div there. And inside, we're gonna have our input. Type text is fine. And I'm gonna go ahead and separate this on multiple lines so it's easier to read. So for our value, we wanna set this to our location. And also we're gonna have an on change, because whatever we type in there, we want it to be set as our value. So in here, we're gonna pass in an event, set that to the search set location, event.target.value. There we go. That's what we need there. And let's just give it a little placeholder. I will say the placeholder is enter location. There we go. And also we need to have our key press to run our function. So on key press, since there's no click doing the key press, we want to run search. So on key press, enter here, we're going to run this search location. So let's go ahead and just style that real quick. We'll put it right here. So we're going to hit app.search. Let's put that in the middle with a text align to the center and give it a padding of 1 rem. There we go. And let's hit our input here. Let's do 0.7 rem and 1.5 on the left and right. Let's do font size 1.2 rem. Give it a nice little rounded edges. And a border 1 pixel solid. And we're going to use RGBA here. Whoops. We're going to be using the white. I was trying to scroll down and save some time here. But that's okay. We'll say 0.8. We'll have to come back. We'll say 8. Come back and see how that looks. And for our background, there we go. 0.2, let's do a little bit. There we go, a little bit less there. Perfect. Now that's what we want. Our inner location placeholder text, a little bit hard to see. We can select that with placeholder. There we go. And let's just set that to a color of kind of off-white there. Perfect. There we go. All right, so that's what we want right there. Perfect, perfect. Now let's go ahead and open our Chrome developer tools here. I'm going to go to the console here, refresh this. Now I'm going to go ahead and enter Dallas. Hey, there we go. So let's see if this is really Dallas. Boom, there it is. Let's try another one. Actually, we want this after you notice that our text is still there. What we want to do is set that as an empty string. So let's go over here and we'll say after we connect here, let's set location empty. So let's try that again here. So I know it's kind of hiding our bottom part there. It's okay. So we'll just try Miami. There. And I'm going to change this color to white real quick. See how that looks. All right, perfect. So it looks like we're grabbing our data, just like everything is working correctly. That's perfect. So now the functionality of our website or of our application is working correctly. See Dallas, make sure we're getting the correct one each time. Denver, New York, perfect. So everything is working properly. Now we just need to display it on our site here. So I'm going to go ahead and close this so it's a little bit easier to read. Now let's go down here and see in our container here, the top part, our Dallas right there. So we actually, what we want to use, we go over here to our JSON file here. What we want to display is the name. So the way we do that is just access here. I'm going to close this out here and we'll say, I don't know why it slides over to the left there. Data.name. Let's go open up our console again here. Oh, let's see here. Should be in there. There it is. Sorry, we didn't log it, but there it is. Perfect. So that's what we want there. Over if we refresh, it resets. Perfect. That's what we want. So next, let's go to our temp here. So let's go over here. The next, it's going to be under main. There's an object here with temp. So looks like that's Kelvin too, I think. Let's have a look in here. We're going to just select that. And we'll say data.main temp. Oh, we get an error. No, we access that, right? Cannot read properties of undefined temp. Okay, so what that's saying is this temp here is a child element of this .main, and basically it's trying to access this temp before it's returning the main. Thus, since it doesn't return this one here, this one is undefined. So that's where we're getting this error here. So this one basically doesn't exist because this one is unable to be found. So the way we can get around that is, I'm just going to type up here to open up a new slot here. Basically, we're going to check to see if the data.main is available, and then we're going to proceed down if it is. So the way we do that is just type, we're going to say data.main, and then we can actually just inject our H1 here. Here it goes sliding over to the left again. And then we're going to say data.main.temp. There we go. Otherwise, display was return null. So let's just delete that because we have our H1 in there, and let's see what we get. Oh, have our clouds over here. We'll just say Denver. Perfect. So they have our degrees here. It is in Fahrenheit. We didn't add in our degrees Fahrenheit, which we will come back and do that in just a minute. I'm going to go ahead and just put that back in there anyways. And boom, there it is. And we'll come back and fix that here in a moment. So let's go ahead and do the next one here. So the next one is, we're gonna have to do the same thing here. So we'll just do this right over there. So what we're gonna do here, because the clouds is found, that's not it. We're looking for, this is the main right here. So the way we access this, we're gonna say data.weather, then this is inside an object. It's the base level object there, it's gonna be 0, and then .main. So the way we're gonna check for that, data data.weather. And if so, we're going to add in our, let's see, data.weather. I forgot to add that. There we go. First array there. Main. This actually needs to be inside there. Close out. Else. Null. There we go. So there we have it off there. It says clear. Let's go ahead and delete that as clouds. Perfect. So that's what we want right there. Now let's go down here to the feels like. I know I'm kind of covering it down. I'll just drop that for now. So if it feels like, we're going to have to do the same thing on that one here. So I'm just going to enter that down below. What we're going to say is the feels like is over here. Data.main feels like. So what we're going to say is data.main. Then open this up here, and we're going to put this inside p tag. Data.main.feels like. Null. Save that and scoot that over. And I'm just going to take this little degrees here as well. Put that right there. And we can delete that. Now for humidity, we're going to be doing the same thing. And we can give this class name a bold as well. So there we go. And so same thing we're doing here. And the humidity is under the same data.main.humidity. Let's say data.main. And this is going to be class name bold here. Put that over to data.main.humidity. That's null. Perfect. And next, get rid of that. And that was add a little percentage sign here. And then the next thing we're doing is wind. And we're going to do that right here. So data.wind.speed. So let's do that. We'll go ahead and delete that there. For our wind, whoops. For our wind, we'll just replace that here. And we'll say data.wind. Throw in our p tag here with a class name of bold. And this is going to be data.wind.speed. We'll say this is miles per hour. No, it's null. Cool. Let's go ahead and save that. Let's see how it looks here. Feels like wind speed. Oh, wait, forgot to have our humidity here as well. Let's see. Boom, there we go. Perfect. So that looks like everything is working properly. We're taking our data. There are a few issues though. For one, it's in Kelvin. I don't want that. And number two, this is displaying down here, and I don't want anything to display unless we are, until we pass in and get some values. So the way we can do that, where's our bottom part? I'm going to give it some room here so we know where we are working. So with this bottom part, basically, if there's no data.name and everything's undefined, then we want to just not show anything in there at all. So what we're going to say is data.name. There we go. We'll throw everything in there. Let's save that. Perfect. Now let's make sure it works. All right, there we go. Now, next thing we need to do is change this from Kelvin to Fahrenheit. So let's have a look at that. Let's go look at our OpenWeatherMap. Once we're in our OpenWeatherMap here, let's pull this open just a tad so we can look. We're going to be looking at API here. We just want to find the docs. And then it should say somewhere in here, format. Here we go. This is what we're right here. Units. We want the units to be. We're going to be using imperial. So The way we can just pass that in over here. Where's our URL? There it is. We'll scroll over. So we're going to pass that in right after our location. And what we have to do is type, where's our and sign here? And we're just say units, because that's what it asked for. Imperial. There we go. Now let's have a look. Getting an error down here. It's okay. Now let's go back over here and see if anything has changed. Let's refresh and we'll type in York. Hey, there we go. Perfect. Let's change this. I don't need to see the 0.62. So let's go ahead and just use some JavaScript for that. Where's the temp? Right here. We'll just say .to fixed. Boom. There we go. And we'll say same with the down here at the bottom as well. So we can go ahead and close that. We don't need that anymore. So humidity, let's do the feels like. Boom. And the speed, let's fix that as well. Perfect. So I'm going to scroll open large screen, see, make sure it still has our container around it. Perfect. Everything is working properly. Let's pass in Dallas. Say Denver. Notice everything is changing. Perfect. So there it is, you guys. We have finished a basic OpenWeatherMap API working in React.js. Very basic, just a one-page application here. But we learned how to connect with using Axios to connect with our API and passing in some dynamic data here with our use state. So hope you enjoyed it, you guys. It was a fun little project I got to work on today. So if you did, please give the video a like and consider subscribing to my channel. I'm going to be putting out some more React content just like this and getting into a little bit more in-depth videos as I continue learning React. So it's been fun, you guys. Thanks a lot for following along. I'll see you on the next one.